So we got about 10 minutes left. We also, I mean, speaking of ancestors, right?
Let's go. Come on, let's do it.
We lost a giant today. Like right before we came on, we heard our brother Harry Belafonte return to the ancestors. Harry Belafonte, to me, was the greatest artist activist of our generation. You know, he not only was somebody that had, I believe Deo was the first platinum record of in the industry. But he saw his role as more than an artist, more than a singer, more than an actor. He really saw himself as somebody that was, and he did break down a lot of barriers. You know, he did the first, I believe it was the first interracial kiss in television history. He utilized his fame and his money to support the civil rights movement. He was one of the early backers and supporters of Dr. Martin Luther King. You know, famously put his whole family through college when Dr. King died, right? There's, you know, he was there with Coretta and took care of Dr. King's family in the absence of their father who was assassinated, right? He also was one of the early supporters of Nelson Mandela and helped, along with others, to talk about apartheid South Africa, break down those walls and help, you know, Nelson Mandela to be freed. He did a lot of albums, kind of cross-generation or cross-continental albums. And that was part of his work as an artist. And so, you know, I was able to meet Mr. Belafonte around 2006 as part of an organization that he started called the Gathering for Justice. And I was able to spend a lot of time. It's like one of the things that I personally am grateful for in my life, that I was able to really, he took me around the country and around the world. The first time I ever went overseas to Berlin, Germany, was because of Mr. Belafonte, you know, calling me and saying, hey, I want you to represent me in the gathering in Germany at this conference called the Interdependence Conference. You know, first time I really met indigenous organizers was when Mr. Belafonte sent me and other members of One Hood to Onondaga Nation. Well, I remember going to Epps, Alabama. I'd never seen rural black poverty. And that was the first time I remember building with, I'd never, you know, I'm from Chicago originally, you know, and coming to Pittsburgh, my thinking was black and white. I'd never been around Latinx folks that were organizing. I remember meeting Barrios Unidos and folks that were organizing around there. I didn't know Asian people were organizing, and they were Asian organizers. That was the first time I ever met a trans organizer, right? Queer organizers, was kind of being around Mr. Belafonte and going on this journey with him through the Gathering for Justice. And so, you know, it's definitely, you know, just a personal loss, but more so, you know, he did so much for others. He really dedicated his life to the betterment and the uplifting of our community. I was in Ferguson. I was sent to Ferguson by Harry Belafonte to kind of say, you know, and he sent myself and Carmen Perez, was still the executive director of the Gathering for Justice, to say, find me young people that I can support and young people and young leaders that I can support. And then he ended up going himself and meeting with young folks and supporting. He was bailing people out of jail, you know, with his own money. And so I just, as an artist activist, strive to like live my life like him, but always was blessed. You know, I would go to New York and I would, you know, email, hey, I'm coming to New York. Can I see Mr. B? And to go meet him at his home or meet him at his office and be able to just sit and spend time with him was just definitely a highlight of my life. So our white pages today is the memoir of Mr. Belafonte, My Song. So I definitely would say read this, a memoir on art, race, and defiance. Just a powerful, powerful life, a giant. And so shout out to, you know, Harry Belafonte, who's with the ancestors now, sending love to his family, his children, his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and all those people that I know personally that whose lives they touched.
Fun fact about Mr. Harry Belafonte, he's the first person to confirm that Beyonce and Jay-Z were in a relationship.
Oh, wow.
At the BET Awards, if you remember, when he was being honored, because nobody would talk about it. And he was like, Jay-Z and Beyonce, you need to fight for people, and you need to support the organizers as you build your family and all of this type of stuff. And so he is one of the reasons why Jay-Z actually started his
absolutely
organizing. And I know we joke about, capitalism and black capitalists and all that type of stuff. But Mr. Belafonte was someone who was really organizing a lot of black rappers and artists to find ways to use their creativity and their skill to like help people and do more than what they were doing at the time. So yeah.
And just to touch on that, because it started off kind of maybe in a negative way, right? Where the media took Mr. Belafonte's words out of context and made it seem like he was attacking Beyonce and Jay-Z. Of course, Jay-Z was more upset that he was talking about Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? And they were able to meet as brothers, as men, and break that, show love to one another, and they helped one another in terms of their activism. So it was dope to see Mr. Belafonte also. I believe it was that speech or maybe another speech. You totally inspired Jamie Foxx. I remember just building with Jamie Foxx, who we're also praying for, and hope Jamie Foxx is healthy, and because I remember Jamie Foxx saying that Trayvon's mom had reached out to him, and he was kind of like, I'm an actor, that ain't me, and heard Mr. Belafonte and got directly involved in helping Sabrina and Trayvon Martin's family, and doing a lot of activism after that. So shout out, to Mr. B, and just the people, like I said, so many lives common, and so many people's John Legend, whose lives that he touched and were inspired. You know what I'm saying? He started an organization called Sankofa specifically to work directly with artists to help them find that path to activism, and to see so many people like Jay-Z now continuing the activism, and John Legend and Jamie Foxx and so many that followed in his footsteps. This is a powerful thing. True?
I can't say anything better than what you just said. I think, we look at people like Harry Belafonte, James Baldwin, some of these iconic, these larger-than-life figures that lent their artistic voices to the advancement of activism for black people.
Absolutely.
And I think, really and truly, not just because of personal bias, but, I'm very appreciative of the place that he put you in.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? And just, and I don't think, and I say this all the time, I don't think people really have an appreciation for how much you've done for the movement personally.
Yeah, yeah.
And because you're a byproduct of, his mentorship.
Yeah.
So, just to large you up and lift you up at the same time that we're talking about Mr. B. But yeah, man, the world is a little bit of a darker place today.
Absolutely. And another fun fact, Mr. Belafonte helped organize We Are the World.
I did not know. Really?
Yeah, the song We Are the World.
Is that the one where Michael Jackson was tight because Madonna? Mike was tight.
Mike said, y'all not carrying these notes at all.
Yeah, man. Michael's ready to walk the fuck out. He's like, I'm going to walk out this motherfucker, man.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, not feeling it. Trouble?
I'm not going to lie. You're the reason why I know who Harry Belafonte is.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because you would always speak so highly of him and the impact he had on your career.
Absolutely.
And this day is kind of sad because, I wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
Before his time was up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now he's joining the ancestors, and I just hope that he rests peacefully.
Absolutely. Well, there's a credible, there's documentaries on Harry Belafonte's life. The most recent one was he actually was the host of The Tonight Show for a number of times. I forget what happened to Johnny Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a documentary called The Sit-In about when Harry Belafonte hosted The Tonight Show. But
that's dope. I'm gonna watch
there's
that.
many things about his life that you can find out. Another fun fact, produced Beat Street, the movie Beat Street.
I did not know that.
He was the producer.
Hey, man, did you know that? I did not.
So a lot of he just so many contributions to our culture and our, and support. So definitely shout out to him. And if you don't know Harry Belafonte, do your Googles, get into some of these docs, read the books, all those good things.